All right, we are going to look at another example of factoring polynomial where you're not given a root or a factor, so we're going to have to find it. So we're going to start out by listing our p-values and our possible p-values and possible q-values. So the p's are all of our factors of our last terms. So factors of 6 are positive and negative 1, positive and negative 2, positive and negative 3, positive and negative 6. Q-values. So factors of the first term, which are 4, so plus and negative 1 is going to be irrelevant. Plus and negative 2, plus and minus 4. So those are possible p's and q's. So now remember, all of our possible rational roots are p divided by q. So I'm going to save myself a little bit of writing, and I'm just going to put a division bar right there. And I'm going to kind of list them all now. So 1 divided by 1, so all the ones, all divided by 1. So positive and negative 1, positive and negative 2, positive and negative 3, positive and negative 6. Now we have to divide by 2. So, because our q value is 2, so it's positive and negative 1/2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we don't need to repeat that. 3 divided by 2, so positive and negative 3/2. And positive and negative 3 divided by 4. I'm running out of room. We got 6 divided by 1, we've already got 6. 6 divided by 2, we've already got that. 6 divided by 4, we don't have that. So our last one, I guess we got a little bit of room here. So positive and negative 6 divided by 4, which we have 3/2 already, so I guess we already do have it. So there are all of our possible roots. So now we're going to use synthetic division with those. I mean, those are our choices. So we got to kind of figure it out what we want to do. Now, what I'm going to do is, I mean, you can sit there and test them, but I'm kind of going to make a little bit of an observation up here. If I kind of look at my terms, what I notice with my terms is that I go from 4 to 2, that's half. I go from negative 26 to negative 13, that's half. And I go from 12 to 6, that's half. So I'm thinking one of my roots is probably going to be a half. But I change signs in this first one. I go from, I want to be able to, because if half of 4 is 2, but I want to be able to eliminate it. So I'm going to make my root negative a half. I'm just going to try it. No idea if it works, but I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, I just try something else. But hopefully it works. I think it's going to. So I bring down the 4. Negative a half times 4 is negative 2, so that gives me 0. That gives me 0. That gives me negative 26. Negative a half times 26 is positive 13. That gives me a 0. That gives me a 0. That gives me a 12. Half of negative 12 is negative 6. So I've got my 0. Perfect. So I know that x minus a half is one of my negative a half is one of my roots. So that makes x plus 1/2 one of my zeros. So now we can rewrite this because that half is in the denominator. I can rewrite this, and if you think about this, I can rewrite this as 2x plus 1. And kind of the rationale between that is if you solve 2x plus 1, that gives you x equals negative a half. That's kind of why it works. So I can rewrite that. My second factor, and I'm just going to write it down here, is 4x to the 4th minus 26x squared plus 12. Because I started with the 5th, that's why this is x to the 4th. This is my x cubed, and so on and so forth. And that's where that one comes from. Okay, so it still all equals 0. So the first one's done, so I don't have to worry about that. That's factored already. But now I got to worry about factoring this. So first thing I notice is I can take out a 2. So I'm going to cover this up for just a second here. I got to bring it back, but we can just cover it up for a second. We're just going to work on factoring this because it's not going to change anything anyway. So I'm going to factor out a GCF. So GCF is 2. That leaves me with 2x to the fourth minus 13x squared plus 6. That I notice is probably going to be factorable, so we're going to use the x method to factor that. So that's 12, that's a times c, and that's negative 13. So negative 12 and negative 1, but my a value is 2, so I got to divide that by 2. Okay, so I think we're good there. So I'm going to bring this back. This was 2x plus 1. This part now, 12 divided by 2 is 6, so that's going to be x minus 6, but it's going to be x squared minus 6 because I started with x to the fourth. And then this is going to be 2x minus 1, but I've taken this 2 out, so I got to bring that 2 along. So there I think is the factored form for the whole thing. And I think that would work out any way we worked it. I think we're good to go. So the question was then to find the 0. So the 2 we don't worry about. We already said the 0 for that was negative 1/2. So that's one of my zeros. So x squared minus 6 has to equal 0. So x squared equals 6. So x equals the positive or negative square root of 6. There's 2 more of my zeros. And then we've got, oops, that should be x squared. Sorry about that. So that should be 2x squared minus 1 equals 0. So 2x squared equals 1. X equals positive or negative square root of 1/2, which is the same thing as a positive and negative square root of 1 over the square root of 2. We can't have radicals in the denominator. So we multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2, which would be the square root of 2 over 2. So plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. So we've got our zeros, negative 1/2, positive or negative square root of 6, and positive or negative square root of 2 over 2. There it is. Did I get a little bit lucky with guessing the 1/2, negative 1/2? You know, kind of. But kind of not. Kind of used a little bit of observation skills prior to and just kind of happened to work out. If it wouldn't have worked out, I just would have gone on to the next one.